Hey Ryan,
Yes, Andrew.
have you heard that the Nintendo NX is going to be a powerful at-home console that can outperform the Xbone and PlayStation 4?
Yes, I did hear that. I also heard it might be half portable.
I've also heard that it might be a giant amphibious creature from the Cretaceous period that's over 350 feet tall.
Just like my dick. I want to start doing breathing exercise so I get a really deep, manly voice, because I kind of hate my voice. My wife says my voice is great, but I can't trust her because she's my wife. If you're listening to this, comment and tell me how annoying my voice is.
Say anything about us.
If you're going to say something negative, preferably do it about Andrew, so I don't have to feel bad. Or both of us.
I feel bad every single day of my life, so...
Just don't single me out. My feelings get hurt very easily. There's a reason why my avatar's a turtle. Welcome
What the
back.
fuck are we doing right now?
Good podcasting. Welcome back to the Explosion of Happiness podcast. It's time to relax, maybe drink a beer, and talk about video games. If you're listening to this right now, I'm sorry that your life came to this. I am your host, Ryan.
And I'm your other host, Andrew. And in this weekly podcast, we talk about video games, as well as, how awesome it is when Hollywood decides to reboot a movie series.
Oh?
Yeah, I heard somewhere that a third film came out this weekend in a rebooted franchise.
Are you sure you don't want to talk about Ghostbusters instead?
I will find you and I will murder you.
Okay, let's talk about Star Trek Beyond.
Yes, I haven't seen it. I might see it because, I don't know, because I'm an idiot. But I would love to hear your take on the movie.
Well, you remember my predictions last week, right?
That it's going to be like the first two, where the main character mostly jumps over things and punches people. You're going to like it as an action movie and say, it was all right. But as a Star Trek film, you're going to be very disappointed, and you're going to spend the entire time wondering why the fuck you spent $15 to see this.
I was right on the mark. It was another one of those. If you enjoyed the first two Star Trek reboots, you will probably enjoy this one. And honestly, I think I might have enjoyed this one a little more than the other two, but that's probably because I went into it with the right expectations. Well, first of all, I found it kind of funny. My dad and I, we went to a 10:30 showing at night. It was also, this is kind of besides the point, Star Trek Beyond was the first film to ever be filmed with this new style where they utilize 3 screens in the theater. Mm-hmm. So it's like the main screen in the middle, and then you got a screen on the right, a screen on the left. It's called Barco Escape. That's the name of the format. So if you Google Barco Escape, you'll probably see like theaters of this style. It was an interesting gimmick. I'm guessing this is a new thing that they're going to be doing to incentivize people to go to movie theaters now that 3D has kind of failed and people just wait for movies to come out on Blu-ray. I didn't really care for that very much.
So I'm curious about that. Does it show, does the main screen, when you see it like that, do you see more than you would on a regular screen, or is it stretching the regular screen onto 3 screens?
Yes, in theory, it should just make a gigantic screen. Now, the thing is, the way it was done in this theater, because this is the first time a movie's ever been filmed like this, and this theater we went to had only one of the rooms retrofitted for this, and it looked like they basically just duct taped these 2 screens on the side of the walls. If they built an actual theater with a giant curved screen, or, just 3 screens that's perfectly aligned with each other, this might have been great. But the way I feel about this might have also been affected by the fact that my dad and I sat in the back of the theater, the very back in the center. It just looked like the 2 screens on the side were angled in a way where you were looking at them from the side, and it was kind of annoying, I thought. But the first time they all turned on together, it was kind of like this ooh moment. But as the movie went on, it was like, I don't really need this. But Star Trek Beyond only had about 20 minutes worth of actual film that used the 2 screens. Most of the time, they just had 2 sort of generic background images on the sides to just sort of go with the tone of the film. And then other times, they were just blank.
Okay, that's fucking lame.
Yeah, but it's like I said, this is the first film that's ever attempted something like this, so it's kind of pioneering the idea.
If the idea is to go back to that old letterbox kind of thing that some of the older movies were filmed in, and then you stretch in the extra onto the screen so you get more of I can see that as a way to engross you more in the film. But if it's just stretching it out, or they just leave them blank, that's rather pointless and lame.
The other interesting note when my dad and I went to go see this movie is that not only was the theater 2/3 empty, everyone else who was there was in their early 20s to late teens. And I kind of took that as a sign that me and my dad were the only actual Star Trek fans still bothering to go to these movies. And the rest of the money they probably made off of it were just people who were casual film goers, which is what these movies are for. So if you are one and you don't give a shit about Star Trek and you just want to see a fun action adventure in space, then it'll do the trick.
I think the most telling thing is, isn't one of the directors for this movie also the director for Fast and Furious?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that right there kind of tells you exactly what this movie is going to be about.
He actually did a pretty alright job directing the movie. Ironically, I didn't like most of the action in it. Some of it was good, but I thought most of it just kind of dragged out, and it was just a lot of characters running around, panicked looks on their faces, that kind of shit. And I just found it kind of boring. The scene where the Enterprise, like, this is a spoiler, but it's in every trailer. The scene where the Enterprise gets completely fucking annihilated, it was actually pretty cool, but even that just kind of went on and on. I just didn't find the action that good. It was sort of on the same level as a Marvel movie or Guardians of the Galaxy. So if you're still entertained by this kind of movies, you'll probably find the action in this one fun. But it wasn't the kind of action I like to get from Star Trek. I usually like the kind of action where you really care about what's going on. There were a lot of good scenes with Spock and McCoy. That was probably the most original series like the movie ever got. I will say, if you notice, a lot of people are saying, man, they got much closer to being like the original series, even though people have said this about all three of these reboot movies. And for the most part, people are right. They went from being 10% similar to about 15 to 20% similar. And I imagine everyone who keeps spouting this has seen like one episode or watched it when they were like 10 and now they're like in their 30s and they don't remember what it was actually like. That's just my guess. I may just be being a narcissistic prick. I don't know, but I'm pretty sure I'm right. The one constant with all three of these reboot films is that Kirk consistently gets his entire crew killed. Every time.
Good to know.
He set a record in Star Trek Beyond. Like, I couldn't fucking believe it. He got almost his entire crew murdered because of
even main characters die?
No. Oh. Just the fucking off-screen characters nobody gives a fuck about. There's kind of a closing scene where everyone is celebrating something to do with Kirk, and I just found it to be kind of ridiculous considering his entire crew just died and they were still like sort of propping him up on a pedestal in a certain way at the end. They actually gave a nod to Leonard Nimoy in a really smart and touching kind of way in this movie, both in the beginning, and there is a scene at the end of this movie where Zachary Quinto, new Spock, is going through old Spock's belongings, and he finds something. If you're a lifelong fan, or you've been a fan of Star Trek as long as I have, it will at the very least polarize you, and for me, it just totally fucked me up emotionally. That's all I'll say about it. It happens near the end of the movie. The movie had some good nods in it. There were some moments where they tried to make it like the original series where the characters would have good conversations with each other, but that was about as far the extent of where I really enjoyed it went. And those scenes were just kind of here and there. The rest was just a bunch of action. And yeah, they opened the movie the same way as Into Darkness, where they tried to do this imitative thing where it was like, no, we totally understand what was great about the original series. Here's a 5-minute scene that kind of encompasses that. Now let's go on to make a generic action movie afterwards. I
have a question real quick. I mean, it's kind of a spoiler question, so just you can keep it vague if you want to, but
sure.
Traditionally in Star Trek, when the enemy is super strong and powerful, like it seems to be implying in the Into Darkness trailers, the way they defeat them is using their brain or some other way to outsmart, outmaneuver what the enemy is planning for. Is that how it works in this one, or is it like Wrath of Khan where Spock just punches him in the face? Not Wrath of Khan, but the second reboot movie.
They kind of do, but it's very uninteresting and Deus Ex Machina how, and then like, well, I guess 90% of the resolution is just a bunch of explosions.
That's disappointing.
Yeah, it basically concludes the same way the other two films did. On that topic, I will say I thought the villains in this movie were very comic booky and goony, not that interesting or threatening. They were just kind of weird, and their reason to do what they were doing was really fucking lame. I mean, I respect that they tried to make an original villain for this movie instead of just rehashing the Klingons and the Romulans again, or the Borg, which I honestly thought they were going to do, but I wasn't digging them. That covers pretty much everything I have to say about the movie. It's very slapsticky, very lowbrow. It has its moments. If you really like Star Trek and you're not that uptight, maybe you'll enjoy it. For me, my dad, we just kind of took it in. I enjoyed some parts, but for the most part, I walked out of the theater and said, yeah, okay, moving on with my life.
So if they release a fourth one, which they probably will, are you going to be a fucking retard and see that one too? Just say yes.
I remember when I saw the first Star Trek reboot in theaters with my dad, it seemed like there was a good mix of younger people, older people, hardcore Star Trek fans, not so hardcore Star Trek fans, or not fans at all. However, I really got the sense going into the theater this time, it seemed like it was mostly just non-fans. I didn't see anyone there over the age of 25. I didn't see anyone there who seemed like they, I don't know, maybe they were big fans. Couldn't really tell, but it was just a much more youthful audience. It seems like the older part of the demographic has moved on from this series. Even though I don't care for these reboots, they're non-offensive to me, but I really don't see the point of their existence when you have Guardians of the Galaxies now and new Star Wars movies coming out every year. It just seems like another middling sci-fi adventure movie to come out. Just seems kind of pointless. There was this one joke Scotty makes where after they discover this crash-landed Federation starship, Kirk asks Scotty how the ship ended up there, and then Scotty begins to list a whole bunch of hypothetical situations. One of the things he listed was that a giant green space hand scooped the ship up, which was a joke to something that actually happened in the original series, and it caused me and my dad to both laugh out loud, but no one else in the theater laughed. I took that as an indication, while maybe they just didn't find it funny, most people probably didn't get the reference because it was pretty funny. Here's the thing. These films, I'm okay with them being what they are now that they're making an actual TV series. Now, if that's a failure, I'll be pissed. I think I said that last week. But on that note, they released a teaser trailer for that TV series.
Oh, what'd you think of the... Was it just like very vague, like just the word Star Trek, or did it actually have scenes?
It showed an asteroid with dry docks, the new starship flying off, and then the title screen. The title of the series is Star Trek Discovery. And I'm fucking pissed that they chose that title because this is a little personal. I'm going to get made fun of it, I'm sure. About 7 years ago when Enterprise got canceled, I started working on a Star Trek series premise called Star Trek Discovery. And it was going to be based between Enterprise and the original series. And I spent like 7 years kind of going back to it and putting ideas into it and trying to write out a 7-season synopsis with characters and all that. And they took my title and they just slapped it on this series. So now I have to retitle that. And I was there first 7 years ago. So fuck them.
Are they taking your premise too? Isn't this also between Star Trek and...
No, this is between the original series movies and TNG.
Okay.
And now the most interesting thing that was shown in this teaser was that the starship design that they're using of the USS Discovery was an aborted design for the USS Enterprise. So in the 1970s, before they started making movies out of the original series, they were originally working on a new series called Star Trek Phase 2. That was going to bring back the original cast, and they were going to have a new starship. And the design of the starship from that series is the design that they're using in Star Trek Discovery. Personally, I think it kind of looks like shit, but that's usually what people say whenever they introduce a new starship design, and then people end up warming up to it anyway. I thought that the new Enterprise and the reboots looked like shit, and then when I actually saw it in the movies, I thought, no, it's actually kind of a sleek design. I don't like the interior, but I thought the exterior was cool for this kind of universe. Yeah, so it's there. The CG is very... early, it looks like. I'm guessing they just kind of slapped this together just to announce it. I hope the CG looks a lot better in the actual series, but that's it.
Nice.
And that's all I have to say.
I hope it doesn't suck.
I do too.
On to video games. Did you actually play any this week?
I played lay on my couch and stare at the ceiling all week.
Hey, me too. Cool beans.
Cool, yeah.
Yeah.
How'd you like it?
Well, I did real life stuff, and yeah, no. Nope. Anyway, I guess we'll just go right into news then.
Cool.
Sweet. Thank you for listening to this episode of
I played a lot of Twitter this last week, and
how'd that go for you?
It's fascinating because what my wall looks like is terrorist attack, politics, video games, terrorist attack, politics, video games, terrorist attack. It's like this great trifecta of life.
The world is fucked, the world is fucked, the world is fucked. Video games, the world is fucked, the world is fucked. Yeah.
Basically. There's some porn in the mix there, too. How was your camping trip? Wait, so you lost your phone?
I found my phone.
Oh, okay.
It was in my car.
I was hoping there'd be a story like you got chased by an animal and then dropped it in a pond or something.
Okay, so that's the one thing I will share about this camping trip. I killed a ton of animals this weekend.
What?
Yeah, by driving. I ran over a squirrel, a rabbit, and a fucking bird. How the fuck do you run over a bird? That bird wanted to die.
My mom once did that, and I asked the same question. And now I can ask you.
I don't know.
Yeah,
it was us there in the road. We were going like 10 miles an hour because it's like this dirt road, so we're not even going this very fast. And the bird like flies, but instead of like flying away, it flies at an angle, so it gets clipped by like the wheel well. And we heard it like crunch and everything. And like, that thing's dead.
Well, hopefully it was a fast death. It may sound cruel, but that is just natural selection working itself out.
It is. Me and my girlfriend joked that bird ran out of Xanax. And yeah. See, that's the thing, though, is I don't think it was a fast death because we heard the crunch, but then it went up over the hood. So I'm thinking that all we did was break its wings or break its bones. So then it like laid there and suffered and died slowly.
Oh, you should have turned around and finished the job.
The squirrel and rabbit died instantly, though, because those fucking got squished by tires.
I'm guessing all three of these were stretched out, or were they all like, was it like bang, 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 back to back?
The bird was on the way to the camping site. The squirrel was on the way out of the camping site. And the rabbit was this morning on my way to work. And the rabbit was also a fucking retard because I saw it on the side of the road. And when I drive to work, there's nobody on the street. So I fucking swerved into the other fucking lane. I gave it a huge amount of room. And then the last fucking second, it sprints right underneath my tire.
Well, number one, there's plenty of rabbits in the world. No shortage of them. Number two, actually the same thing happened to me once when I was driving to work. And there was a rabbit just sitting in the middle of the road staring at me. Just staring. Wasn't budging. And as my truck was getting closer to it, I kind of started swerving. I didn't hear a thump or anything, but on the way back, I saw a dead rabbit in the road, so I never really knew for sure if I hit it or not, but it just stared at me until I was right on top of it, like it was embracing its death.
God, the same thing actually happened to me once, too, kind of. I was going down this windy-ass road to work in the morning, and I turn a corner downhill, and all of a sudden there's like a fawn just standing right in the middle of the road, and it stares like right at me as I slam my fucking brakes, and I stop, and I don't see the fawn anymore. And at this time, I'm driving SUV, so I'm like a little bit off the ground. And I slam on my brake, stop. I can't see the fawn anymore, but I didn't feel anything, so I pop it into reverse and back up, and it's still alive. I didn't hit it. It's just standing there with like the most fucking freaked out look an animal could possibly have. And I sat there for a while before it finally like got its senses back, and then like sprinted off into the woods.
Has it not been enough time for human roads to be worked into their evolution?
Yeah, you think the mama deer would tell its baby fawn, hey, there's these giant concrete things. That's why your Uncle Phil died, so it's best you stay away from those things. Because that's, you're going to get fucked up. Yeah. Honestly, I think with like rabbits and squirrels, part of me isn't joking when they're like killing themselves. They want to die.
Yeah.
But what's interesting is that you did say work into like their genetics or whatever. I think it's ravens or crows. They actually know what cars are. They're aware of cars and use cars to their benefit, where they'll get hard seeds, leave them in the street in a position that tires will go over them so that the tires crush the seeds open, and then they will go down and eat the good parts.
Well, this podcast is full of all kind of interesting information. I did not know that.
Yeah, crows are, and ravens are incredibly fucking smart, to the point that they have their own language with certain types of dialect based off location. They will not only remember faces, they will communicate to each other what people look like and if they are good or bad people. So if somebody were to feed a murder of crows, those crows would communicate to other crows that this person gives food. And if another human being were to attack them, they would communicate that this guy is a giant asshole.
And then they'll come fuck you up.
Yeah, they will. They will get fucking aggressive towards people. If you are a big enough dick to crows, they will come at you with a vengeance. They will be jerks to you. They will bully you and like crowd you. Like they won't attack you, but they will, as a front, aggressively move at you. Yeah.
Wow.
For the longest time, there was the idea that the size of your brain relative to the size of your body was what determined your relative intelligence. But due to research done to crows and parrots, it was determined that it wasn't the size of your brain, but the size of your prefrontal cortex compared to the rest of the size of your brain. That is a very good indicator for intelligence of an animal.
I'm learning a lot.
I know.
I'm now scared of crows.
I like how we're like, 40 minutes in? Dude, crows are brilliant. I love, it's crazy. We're 40 minutes in, we haven't talked about video games at all.
I don't give a shit. My parents have a little shih tzu that loves to chase crows. I should probably warn them about this because they're going to scoop her up and kill her someday.
Another fun animal fact is apparently owls will occasionally attack humans too that get too close to its nest.
Oh?
And they can fuck you up. Like
owls?
Owls, like the great horned owl.
With their beaks or their claws?
Their claws. They will use their claws. And like people who get attacked by say that they have no idea what's going on. Like because by the time they turn around, they don't even see the owl anymore because it's generally at night.
Yeah, you'd think. Are there like predatory owls out there who will just come after you?
It's defense. It's territorial.
Yeah. But I mean, what is territorial to them? Like climbing their tree?
No, getting too close to their nest. I don't remember the specifics, but it was on another podcast that I listened to where they were talking about how a man found his wife dead at the bottom of a staircase, and he called the police. The police arrested him, and he was in jail serving a life sentence. And then somebody figured out that he didn't kill her. She probably died to an owl attack.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Blunt trauma to the head? Like, what did
blunt trauma to the head, like the back left side of the head. They thought that he bludgeoned her to death with a fireplace poker.
Shit.
But in reality, what might have happened, they're not 100% sure, but there's some strong evidence to the point that they found feathers in the wound. They found feathers on her hand, like the micro feathers, which are unique to owls. It was deep attacked. There was her own scalp in her hand, as if she reached back to see what was wrong.
Oh.
Yeah. And like bloody footprints everywhere, like she was running around in a panic while she was being attacked by this bird.
Fuck.
And then her husband found her like this, assumed she fell down the stairs, and then the cops arrested him for murder. And he served 5 years in prison.
Oh my god. I don't like owls anymore.
Anyway, what they found out was, I think it was back in 2009, it was really popular to do nighttime cross-country skiing. And in this one location, people kept getting attacked by something that they weren't exactly sure of. They'd feel like their hat or hood get knocked off, and then they'd start getting attacked from behind. And eventually what they found out was people were getting too close to a great horned owl's nest, and it was being incredibly territorial and would attack them when they skied by in the night, because they'd all be wearing these big, bright headlamps, so it would attract a lot of attention from the owl.
The longer I live, the more things I discover that make me paranoid of everything.
Oh, man. Actually, if you want paranoia, this is something I read last night.
Oh, my God. Please no.
That Clathrate gun hypothesis. Methane gas. Really don't want to have kids anymore.
Global warming is a conspiracy.
Hopefully we'll die of old age.
Extinction level event. I'll put you out of your misery. I'll do you and then do me. I'll do us both.
Sometimes we talk about video games.
Ha. Ha ha.
The Chinese Communist Party.
You've made me as unhappy as I possibly could be right now.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Or we could just play video games in my truck with the engine running.
Fuck yeah, let's do it, like
In a
the
garage.
last bit of battery that our Nintendos have going.
Yeah.
Or 3DSs.
I'll get out my old Game Boy, play Super Mario Land, remember what it was like to be that young.
Fucking take ecstasy beforehand, because why the fuck not? Make it as good as possible.
I wouldn't want to be that close to you if I'm going to be on ecstasy. Sorry.
Fuck it, we're going out. Why does it matter? I'm feeling good. Anyway, so let's keep the conspiracy theory chain going with.
Yeah, I just want to just so neither of us are endorse. Well, I'm not endorsing that whole thing that Andrew just went on because I'm not a scientist and I'm not too familiar with these concepts. So, if someone's gonna get mad over him, direct that to him, not me. Anyway,
hey, I just want to say at this point that global warming is more well understood than gravity. And if you really don't believe in global warming,
I didn't say I don't believe that the Earth is heating up and that the
well,
world is warming.
that's something that I want. Global warming just means planet Earth is heating up, and that's a big debate. What effect we have on it and what effect we could have, because it's happened before. Hot and cold cycles. Who knows? We don't. That's the problem. Fuck us.
Our audience is dead right now.
Yeah, right.
Let's please talk about video games.
All right.
Yeah.
Tim Sweeney, founder of Epic Games, thinks Microsoft will make Steam progressively worse using Windows 10 patches. He goes on to say that they will have a new engine. Currently, everything uses Win32, which they've been using for a long time. Microsoft wants to switch over to UWP, which is what they're running on their Xbox One and Windows 10 exclusive game stores. There's supposedly some benefits to it, like he specifically says that Win32 could be a video game or it could be used to create a virus. UWP is a little bit more closed off to ensure that it's only used in certain ways. and that's not necessarily good for people as a whole because it gives Microsoft more control. And he also theorizes that every time that they patch it, they'll on purpose make Steam run more shitty on Windows 10, so more people want to buy from the Windows App Store to get their video games instead of Steam.
Here's a more concrete idea that I think is actually supplemented with fact, and that fact would be Microsoft history, which is there's only one thing that they want as bad as making as much money as possible. It's fucking over their customers. They're going to fuck you if they can. If they can do all this and they can get away with it, they're going to do it. I don't think they're going to. I don't know how they could get to that point. It would probably take a lot longer than he's suspecting, 5 years. It seems like a giant conspiracy theory the way he's saying it. Right now, they're just trying to put their Windows Store in front of the Steam Store. They're not trying to stop people from going to it. But if they ever get enough people using the Windows Store, if the majority start using the Windows Store, which is never going to fucking happen at the way they're going at it, then they might start to do this kind of stuff. And, I mean, doing shady stuff is totally their thing. But if Steam just started working shitty for everyone using it over the next couple of years while no one continues to use the Windows Store for games, there's going to be a backlash. There's already backlashes about everything they're doing with Windows 10. So I think Microsoft would want to get away from the backlashes before they start doing this kind of conspiratorial shit again. But it's fully within their realm that they would do it.
Yeah, there's been a ton of shady shit that they have done in the past. Like one of the first ones, I cannot find the actual lawsuit, but Microsoft got sued for antitrust laws because they were basically putting their operating system on pre-built PCs. So if you bought a computer, it would come with DOS and Windows. And competitors at the time that also had their own operating system sued over the fact that this gave them a huge edge, even though that Microsoft, Windows wasn't necessarily the best OS. And that's just kind of, I mean, how shady and evil that is up to you to decide, but that's kind of goes to show that Microsoft is well aware that in order to succeed, they don't need to make the best product. They just need to get people to use their product. And those two are not necessarily mutually exclusive. Yes. So they're going to do what they can to make money off of their stuff. Yes, this seems right now kind of crazy and over the top. I wouldn't be surprised if at the very least it's being talked about.
I mean, Windows 10 does have a reputation for it deleted a whole bunch of my music, and supposedly it'll delete applications that might contribute to any form of piracy. Allegedly, people have claimed that'll happen, and that's one of the reasons I won't use Windows 10. Everyone should be wary of what they're doing. However, if this puts a gun at Valve's head, and then they probably got a whole department basically planning out how to combat Microsoft and Windows now that they're going to be gunning at them, as well as Ubisoft and EA. I am hoping Valve is coming with some ideas to continue to be not complete dicks to their users.
Yeah, that's the thing that I think is really important to note about all this, is that, let's say he's correct, they are going to do this. They're going to make Steam run like shit. Valve is made out of money. They would not let this happen where their best moneymaker is taken from them unfairly. They would fight this tooth and nail. They would make their own OS if they have to. They will do whatever it takes to ensure that they keep making a shit ton of money because they make a shit ton of money.
Well, they do have their OS. The problem is not very many of their games support it. Actually, a very small portion of the Steam library does, and that's the problem I have with that. I don't think 5 years is going to be long enough to get to that point. Enough said?
Enough said.
Okay, I got a chunk of Sega news about two different things. The first one is that, maybe you've heard of this, Sega is releasing the Sega Mega Drive Sonic the Hedgehog 25th anniversary console. It's basically the same thing as what Nintendo did with the NES, except this thing is coming with 80 built-in games.
Okay, what's the price point?
It looks like the one I'm referring to is going to be $65.
So it's a better deal because if I remember right, the Nintendo's 30 games for $60. So
yeah, a lot of people think the Genesis was superior. So I'm sure they would know their games, so they would get with this. I don't remember how many games came on the NES re-release. That was like
30 games.
30.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is more than twice as much. This is almost 3 times as much
for about the same price.
Yeah, where I'm looking, it's not showing all the games. It says, Sonic the Hedgehog 1, 2, Mortal Kombat 1, 2, and 3, Golden Axe 1, 2, and 3, Altered Beast, Alex Kidd. So I'm sure they got all the classics on this thing. Yeah, that's neat. The other Sega-related news was that they announced 2 Sonic games. The first game they announced is called Sonic Mania, and it is basically to Sonic as Mega Man 9 and 10 was to Mega Man.
Oh, thank God. Jesus Christ, how many years did this take? It's still going to suck.
It looks good, but you might be right. The other game they announced, it doesn't have a title yet. It's just currently called Project Sonic, I believe. It's basically Sonic Generations 2.
Okay, that could be. Sonic Generations wasn't like amazing, but it was all right.
I really liked it. It was super short, but I had a lot of fun with it. And I wanted a Sonic Generations 2. And this looks like what it is. The peculiar thing, though, is these two games that they announced. Sonic Mania got announced for the PS4, Xbox One, and PC for spring of 2017. The other one has been announced for holiday season 2017 for PS4, Xbox One, and Nintendo NX. But the retro-looking arcade-like Sonic game did not get announced for either the NX or the Wii U, which is odd. Because at first I thought, well, maybe they're just not allowed to announce the NX version, or they don't want to announce it, but then they announced the NX version of the other game. So that made me go, what the fuck is this? I don't know. Sonic Mania will probably come to the NX or whatever holiday season with the other Sonic game. Maybe it's just too soon for them to put it out on the new console. But it's just odd. Not a big Sonic fan. I've only played a couple of games. Most of them are fucking shit. But I think both of these games actually look promising.
Yeah, I mean...
They look promising. I'm not saying they're going to be good.
It's the Sonic cycle. It starts with the announcement and the hope. Then it comes with the, reveal. They start to show gameplay and the hope builds. Then they start to show more gameplay. And this time the gameplay has, the side characters that you've never seen before. And you're like, why the fuck are they here? I don't care about these people. And your hope starts to transition into despair. And then the game comes out and you realize that you were a fucking idiot. And you enter the final phase of the cycle. You say Sonic is dead. You're never going to buy another Sonic game. 3 years later, they announce another Sonic game. And it all starts over again. I
enjoyed the Sonic Adventure games back in the day. I realize they're shit games now, and I played a couple of the 2D ones. I'm a very casual Sonic fan, I guess. Whenever a good Sonic game comes out, I take interest in it, and I potentially buy it. Sonic Generations was the last Sonic game I got. I really liked it. So the fact that they're announcing a sequel to that got my attention, and if this game turns out good, I will probably get that. Potentially both of them. That's it. Maybe the cycle will be broken again. Generations being the only one. Why do people hate Generations so much?
I don't never see anybody really hate Generations. Just like it could have been more, it could have been really good, and instead it is what it is. And what it is isn't bad. It's just
with a title like Sonic Generations, you expect it to be just some cash-in piece of shit. So I mean, that was what really surprised me when it turned out good. I noticed it seemed like a lot of people who didn't actually review the game, but sort of just did a quick look at it or something, and were very dismissive. Like, yeah, it's just another shitty Sonic game, but it actually was pretty okay. I think a lot of people got so used to nothing but shit from Sonic that they just completely overlooked Sonic Generations from being a pretty decent game. Okay, well, that's all I have to say on that. What are other news stories you wanted to bring up? Or should we just go straight to the Nintendo one?
Yeah, let's do the Nintendo one.
Okay, here we go. More NX rumors, but I guess it's starting to become slightly more factual than rumors at this point.
Yeah, this one had some neat concept drawings to go along with it. So basically, the idea is that the Nintendo will be a handheld. The design that they show is basically makes it look like a tablet screen with, a controller surrounding the edges. But the idea to make it different from pretty much everything is that it will be a handheld that you can plug directly into a TV. And while it's plugged in directly into a TV, it will use stronger hardware than the handheld. So you can play the exact same games, handheld or on a TV. On a TV, you will have like better fidelity, I'm guessing, maybe higher FPS, better resolution, stuff like that, who knows. But the core idea is that it will be the same game. And on top of that, the controllers will break away from the tablet into two wireless controllers. So built in, it seems like they want an idea of couch multiplayer, which is cool and refreshing from that principle alone. But yeah, it's... what the fuck?
I actually didn't know that it would use stronger hardware when you plugged it into the TV. That's news to me. That makes sense. I'm very fascinated by this whole thing, because this could potentially work for Nintendo and Nintendo games specifically. If the games themselves look fine and they run well and there's no issues with the hardware and it runs at least as well as the Wii U and its games with maybe hopefully a better library, I can see myself getting this. How do you feel about it?
Poor idea, I think, is very Nintendo. And like you said, it will work well with Nintendo games because they seem to be the ones that keep pushing forward, couch multiplayer. But if it runs well, and it can use the dual hardware well, if it includes that. And it can look impressive on TV. If the on-TV display looks good, I think they might have a very marketable item here, just based off the principle that there's going to be Nintendo diehards that go out and buy this game. People will see advertising and they'll be like, oh, this looks interesting. They might know a friend who has it. The friend can easily bring this over to their house, and as long as it's a very easy plug and play into a new TV at any time, you could, if you got it, you could come over to my place, plug it into my TV, and instantly Nintendo might have a sale based off that principle alone.
Yeah. I can see the vision behind this. It makes sense. The first thing I thought when I read this is, oh, they're basically making a Nintendo Vita. Hopefully it won't fail like the Vita. Mm-hmm. But I can kind of see conceptually how, if this thing also serves as like a tablet, like say maybe you can have 3G, 4G support on it or whatever, and you can carry it around. Maybe it'll also have Nintendo's mobile games, maybe.
Yeah, that'd be smart.
As well as its own library. Like it might be like a dedicated gaming tablet device that you can still use for functions like web browsing and all that shit, but it will, unlike all those other ones, it'll have a massive library of really good games. Assuming Nintendo puts good games on it.
From the start, I've always assumed that was the point of the NX. That was to make it so that they could actually get ports from, the PlayStation 4. So those multi-platform games could come out on all three consoles again.
I honestly think it's smart that they're not just making a home console, a dedicated home console. I know I might even be the minority for saying that, but I don't know what they could do other than just copy Microsoft and Sony, and that would do them no good at this point because those audiences got what they wanted already. I think Nintendo makes great portable devices and great portable games, and I think this is a smart direction for them.
Yeah. What I kind of want to know is if it is a mobile device, like this is obviously going to replace the Wii U, but what about the Nintendo 3DS? Will the Nintendo 3DS continue to exist alongside this?
I don't think it would.
Oh, yeah, so that would mean that we would get a traditional Pokemon game eventually on the NX, which would double as a home console. I think there's like an interesting future for like all of the Nintendo franchises using this technology. Like Pokemon is the one that sticks out in my mind the most, but could you imagine like a Metroid game that is both a 2D Metroidvania that you use the handheld portion for, as well as a 3D Prime game that you have to plug into a TV and play?
What, so it had like two games in one?
Yeah. Exactly.
I would think they'd just release two games, but I mean, I like the idea.
But the thing is, Nintendo also always likes to innovate. So
that raises the question: what if certain games will only utilize the stronger hardware in the thing, and you have to plug it into a TV?
Right.
I mean, there's a lot of possibilities with it, so that's what makes speculating about it
interesting
very vague in general. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I'm actually pleased about this news. It's not something so weird that it's just out of the realm of understanding what the point is. Seems like the reception this has been getting, at least what I've seen on like Twitter and news sites, is that people are not liking it at all. Mm-hmm. I'm not surprised. Good games. That's all. That's all I want. If the thing is comfortable, if it looks nice, games run well, that's all I give a shit about. If this is a good portable device, it's easy to carry around with me, easier than my 3DS. If it has certain functions that would alleviate the need for a smartphone, yeah. I'm guessing this thing, it probably won't be too much of a tablet because Nintendo would have their own OS, but maybe they'll announce something like that with it too. Maybe they'll have like their own phone OS. They'll start releasing their own phones. I don't know.
Jesus fucking Christ. Yeah, it's...
Nintendo would dominate in that market if they did. As long as they bring their quality with them, I don't care, as long as they always make good games.
Right. Like you said, until this thing's out or until we have hard facts, it's really hard to get your hope up, but my interest is piqued. Like, I don't necessarily hate this, but
I'm sure there's a lot of negative things about this that we're probably not considering. If you're listening to this right now and foaming out of the mouth over stupidity, feel free to let us know how stupid we are in the comments. The PC is my dedicated gaming device, and I can easily plug that into the TV that's right next to it or my monitor. And the fact that this Nintendo thing is a portable, having a companion console to a PC being a portable that I can take anywhere I go with me is pretty awesome.
Right. Well, like for me, I have multiple televisions, so
you could you could easily just go to another room and play it and stuff.
Or like I could have it out in my living room while I sit on the couch, or I could take it upstairs to my bedroom and play it on the TV,
or easily take it to a friend's house. Yeah.
Or like my girlfriend goes to bed, I got to turn the TV off. I can then play it as a handheld. There's hope here, but as with any hardware, though, it comes down to the software and the idea of maybe if they get actually good third-party software, it's not all nasty shovelware. And I've said this from when we first started talking about the NX. Part of them selling the NX will be first party titles. And if they can release with a lot of good first party presence, I think more than the design of the hardware, that's really going to be what makes this work. So if it has a Mario game, if it has Breath of the Wild, if it has another like not third party, but another one of their more minor titles, and if they also bring Star Fox Zero to it somehow, so it launches with like a Star Fox Zero version of it.
Yeah, I guess the biggest mystery to me is how backwards compatible will this be with their previous games? Will this utilize like motion controls? So games like Pikmin 3 that were meant to be played with like a Wiimote and stuff, will that still work? Are these little controllers on the side, maybe they have motion sensors in them or something, and you can detach them and use them like Wiimotes? It can't just work as magically well as we're thinking. There's got to be a catch. I like the idea of it. We just got to find out what the catch is. Yeah, that's all I have to say on that.
The future for the NX is still questionable, and there's no guarantee that this is even what it looks like. But I think the core thing behind all of this, though, is like every time I see what the NX could be, my reaction is always, that seems dumb, that seems stupid, but I don't care. Like, if a good console is a good console. I
got used to everything Nintendo announced sounding dumb to the point where now I don't react. I just wait to see the games they show.
Exactly.
I thought the 3DS was dumb. I thought the Wii was dumb. I thought the Wii U was dumb. And even though the gimmicks of all those devices I just mentioned I think are dumb, they still had games on those consoles, and I ended up buying them for that, so that's all I care about. Nintendo likes their peripherals. It doesn't make sense that they just put this thing out, and that's it. There's probably going to be like other attachments or things for it. Yeah. All right. We'll see. I bet they're going to announce this thing very soon because it's coming down to the wire. So we just got to be.
Yeah, I hope so. Well,
there's probably going to be more leaks at the very least. TechRaptor's doing a Kickstarter right now.
Okay.
They're trying to expand as a website. I'm bringing this up because I get most of my news from TechRaptor. They're the first news site I go to, and when I don't have time, I usually only get news from them. They started a Kickstarter. Their goal was $1,000, and they just have a ton of stretch goals, basically. So however much money they make is the different things they'll integrate to their site. One of the things I saw that they're doing is they're starting a podcasting network.
Oh, nice.
And my eyebrows kind of raised because it said they're going to have like their own main podcast, but they're also going to be opening up a network for other podcasters to submit applications. And then the very first thing I read was quality.
Ah, shit.
And I said, well, fuck us. That's it for us. Quality, consistency, self-managed.
Well, we got 2 out of 3.
Yeah.
We are very fucking consistent.
All I need to do is find a replacement for you, and then we're good. Well, I'm good. Yeah. I know. That was mean.
Yeah, that hurt me.
I know. I'm sorry. I didn't actually mean that. I wouldn't do this without you.
Ryan. Hey, Ryan.
Yes, Andrew.
How many tries did it take you to beat the final chapter of StarCraft 2 on Zerg?
Hey, Andrew, how many times did you die playing Minecraft last time we played that?
Go fuck yourself. Oh, man, I got news. I got a new story that's really important to me.
Okay, yeah.
Pokken Tournament announced a new hero. It's Darkrai. Darkrai's cool, but some people did some data mining in a patch, and they found Empoleon, and Empoleon's my boy, and I kind of want to get Pokken Tournament now. And if you don't know, Empoleon is the giant penguin Gundam, so...
Cool. NX, maybe. I feel like I've got like 90% of the Wii U library, or at least the games that are good. I want to get that Yoshi game, the Donkey Kong game, and Pokken Tournament. I think that'll be it for me.
Yeah. I'd be down to play a shit ton of Pokken Tournament.
Yeah, Pokken Tournament looks fun. It's not a game I'd want to practice a lot at, but it does look fun.
Looks better than Street Fighter V.
Yeah, I think I've given up on the odds of me ever getting into Street Fighter V.
If it had a nice sale.
Well, it was like $30 last time. I almost got it, but then I just keep reading more and more about it. I try not to use the term dumpster fire lightly, but it is very well suited for the situation of Street Fighter V and Capcom.
Yeah.
And it's been said that the day Street Fighter stops selling is the day Capcom is in trouble, and that day is now.
Yeah, it's really... all they have at the moment is Resident Evil 7.
And that still remains to be seen.
Because they totally fucked over Mega Man, which is like their longest-running fucking franchise, and they fucked it over. And now they completely screwed up the Street Fighter V release. And the thing that fucked it... like, I don't know why they were so eager to push out Street Fighter V, because Street Fighter 4 was still doing so well. They could have delayed it an entire year, and I don't think people would have been that upset.
I think I only had one other thing, which is No Man's Sky got delayed 3 whole days on PC, and I saw a whole bunch of people saying that they're canceling their pre-orders because of that.
Oh my fucking god. Really, people?
I mean, I like that that's the reason you had to cancel your pre-order for No Man's Sky, which is the fact that they delayed it 3 days. Not the fact that that game is probably not going to be anywhere near as good as everyone thinks. When I read PC report delayed, I was expecting to read 1 month, and it was 3 days. I'm like, oh, that
Even
must
if it
just-
was 1 month, it's not that big of a fucking deal. It's not like there's some competitive scene to this. Oh no, I won't be able to name the fucking species first. Yeah, go fuck yourself. But it doesn't really affect me because this was actually one of the few games I was planning on getting on the PlayStation 4 anyway.
Yeah.
Because I think it's a game that my girlfriend would like to watch me play from the sounds of it. And it sounds like the kind of game that I want to lay down in my bed and play on TV.
Yeah, it seems like initially on your first play of it, it might be a good like vacation game to just sink time into until it gets old. I gotta say, all the videos I've seen of the actual gameplay, it looks like it's gonna get really repetitive because all the planets that they've showcased in their videos, they all kind of look like they just have the same routine that you do on those planets, and then they start talking about the numbers, how big it is, how impossible it is to actually see everything, and what else could actually be out there.
There's a difference between seeing literally everything and seeing effectively everything. Because if there's a bajillion planet, but there's only 30 different types of planets, and you only have to see fucking 30 planets, not all bajillion of them.
Also, the developer said that 90% of the planets are going to be barren, which makes sense. And that's, I think, is actually probably a good thing, so that when you actually find shit, it's important. But I don't think the majority of the audience is going to care about that.
Right.
Like, to me, I can kind of see an appeal in this game being, you know, race to the center of the galaxy, Battlestar Galactica mode, get there, destination, journey to the destination, run into some cool shit on the way there. That kind of makes sense to me.
I'm pretty sure I've said this on the podcast before. I'm pretty convinced, as long as the game is what it's supposed to be, I'm going to enjoy it because I feel like I'm going into the right attitude with this game, which is a total shut off your brain and explore and just look at stuff. Like I used to enjoy doing that in Minecraft or Terraria, where just going into a new world and seeing what the world randomly generated and how things look. That seems to be this on a greater scale, and I get pleasure out of that. I'm not expecting Game of the Year. I'm not expecting to fucking love and rave about the game. I'm expecting to be able to put 20, maybe 30 hours into this game and just have fun butt fucking around in it.
I really have a feeling the day it comes out, and I'm thinking about getting it, I'm going to read something about it that totally puts me off of it, because it seems like this is going to be that kind of game.
Yeah.
I haven't even started playing Elite Dangerous yet. I got a whole bunch of space games I should be playing, or that I wanted to be playing when I wasn't too busy being depressed and laying on my couch.
Sorry about the depressed part.
Yeah, well, you know what it's like. I'm looking at this porn of Team Valor's leader.
Oh, you finally look at that?
Well, you just said it to me.
No, I sent it to you when I first started talking about her.
It opened up in a different tab. I wasn't looking at it.
That's weird.
She looks really happy.
Yeah, she's there to service the members of Team Valor.
Cool.
Which is why Team Valor's best team.
Let me check my notepad in case there was anything else I wanted to mention. Oh, yeah, there's more drama behind Star Citizen. I really didn't look into it, so I shouldn't comment on it. But it sounds like, what's his name? Derek Smart released a bunch of other points why the game is not... It's like the whole thing is a scam. I'm going to look into that. Oh, and also, Infinity Ward released Call of Duty in Infinite Warfare. And I just realized why it's called Infinite Warfare, because I'm a fucking idiot. Infinity Ward, Infinite Warfare. Ha ha. Ha ha ha.
I don't get it.
The name of the developer is Infinity Ward, and the name of the new Call of Duty Infinite Warfare, because that's the name of their studio. It's like their way of saying it's a thing. Anyway, there's more than one reason why my avatar's a turtle. Anyway, I'm done. Are you done?
I'm done.
Are we done? Okay.
We're done.
We're done.
If you've if you've listened to this podcast or any of our podcasts, thank you, and seek medical attention.
Would you like to try that again?
Yes. If you've listened to this podcast or any of our podcasts, sincerely thank you, and please seek medical attention.
This is very entertaining.
Go fuck yourself. If you've listened to this podcast or any of our podcasts, sincerely thank you, and please seek medical attention. I did it. Fuck yeah. I'm number one.
Yay.
For Team Valor.
You should maybe write it down, and just that helps, because...
I know what I want to say, I just can't pronounce the word attention on command, apparently, because I'm a fucktard.
Well, because I have a little bit of autism, I just write everything down now. You can subscribe, stream, or download our podcast via the RSS feed on www.explosionofhappiness.com. You can also find the podcast on iTunes or stream our content on YouTube under the channel Explosion of Happiness. If you have a Twitter account, you can follow my personal Twitter, Ground Tank, where I'll be forwarding our uploads as well as stating opinions on things you probably don't want to hear. You can follow me and mock me.
All right, and get a hold of us or whatever. Just Send us a dick pic.
Thank you for listening.
We need affirmation that we actually exist.
Andrew, it's okay. Thank you for listening.
Nothing's okay.
God bless America. Goodbye.
Go Team Valor. Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi.
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 Hello.
Hi.
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 Hello.
Are we ready to start?
Ah, fuck. Hey, Ryan.
Yes, Andrew.
Did you hear that the Nintendo NX is going to be a powerful at-home console that can outperform the
Just like my dick.
Gold.
Just like my dick. Just like my cock. Just like my dick. Just like my dick. It's fun to say that.
Just like my dick.
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 My dick.
My dick.
My dick.
My dick.
I'm now officially titling this episode My Dick.
My dick. God damn it. So, they announced the trainers in Pokemon Go, like the leaders of each of the three groups, you know, Team Mystic, Team Valor, Team...
yes, I know. I
Instinct.
saw the picture.
Yeah. Same day, there was a ton of porn of the leader for Team Valor. Once again, Team Valor continues to be the best.
Oh, wait, so there's like a... Well, yeah, duh. Did you see the leader of Team Mystic? She just looked like a...
Is it
Barbie
a she?
doll.
Is it a she?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
How did you not tell?
I like looked at it for a minute. And I'm like, because that's such a it's a Bishonen. That's like such a fucking anime trope. I'm just staring at this forever. I'm like, I think those are tits. I'm not 100% sure if those are tits.
Well, now
That could just be clothing. What am I looking at? Is this a pretty man or a pretty woman?
You got me, look, chicken. I thought the hairstyle on the face...
No, dude, Bishonen is huge. Just look at fucking Inuyasha, especially his brother. Like, that's kind of a more well-known anime in America. Like, Bishonen's a fucking style, dude.
Okay, well, I thought the costume was kind of more of a dress, but the silhouette and then the face... I mean, hold on, if I can find a fucking picture of it. I don't know why DuckDuckGo is such a pain in the ass.
And the name's Blanche, and that's like a unisex name. And so it's like, I like literally, like Spark is obviously a guy. Candela is obviously a girl. Blanche, you just like look at that and I'm like, I don't know. I want to say it is a girl, but I legitimately
maybe don't know. Okay, you know what? You're right. Now that I'm looking at it, I don't know anymore. I'm pretty sure it's a girl. I mean, the thin legs, but you're right. It could be a trap, which is perfectly fitting for that team.
You're 100% right. That would be perfectly fitting.
Because we all know Mystic is a bunch of very closeted people who intentionally chose the wrong team.